We're not kneeling on this podcast. We keep going. We keep the clock running because we got a few more teams to go. But yes, we were talking about Georgia Tech, and I said we're not kneeling. So you know who's next? The Miami Hurricanes. The expectations are through the roof, and they should be with this roster. I have their ceiling as a college football playoff team. Probably even could go deeper than just making the college football playoff. This is a roster that should be able to win games in the college football playoff. The question is, can they put it together on game day, on the field? Can they manage the clock? Can they make the decisions necessary to let all that talent do what it's supposed to do? Roddy, what say you?
Andy, I think they can. I am obviously it's early, and so I reserve all right to change my opinion with this. But I think I'm buying Miami as like an ACC championship game participant and maybe an ACC championship game winner. I just really, really like this roster. And it's really not because of the flash. It's because it's been built in the right way. The Mario Cristobal way is building the offensive and defensive lines inside out, front to back. Like that is how Mario Cristobal builds his teams. And so when you look at guys like Kiki Maui-Noa, who comes in last year, or is it Cece? I can't remember which one's which. Francisco Maui-Noa, the offensive tackle.
The offensive lineman, not the linebacker.
Right. When you look at guys like him and Ruben Bain, freshmen last year who were freshman All-Americans, those guys should continue to develop. They've had other impact freshmen throughout that team. And then they sprinkle in guys like Francisco Maui-Noa, who the linebacker. When you look at this team, I think that the toughness that Mario Cristobal is trying to instill, I think that's going to shine this year. And then, by the way, they got Cam Ward, they got Damien Martinez. Damien Martinez pairs with Mark Fletcher at running back. Like it's a really good running back unit. Xavier Restrepo at the receiver position should be really good for them. He was incredibly consistent last year for an offense that wasn't consistent. So I really like this Miami team. The one weakness they have is in the secondary. And I think they'll be able to piece it together enough. I think the ceiling for this team is certainly college football playoff appearance. I think they could get to the semifinals. I really could. If they are able to come together and get out of their own way. Regular season records, like this is a team that could be flirting with 12-0. I think 11-1 is certainly a reasonable ceiling for them with that schedule. I
think anything worse than 10-2 is a disappointment.
I agree. And I think their floor is 9-3, but I think that's a disappointment with this schedule. I agree.
Yeah, I had 8-4 as the floor, and that's everything going wrong. Total mismanagement. Just because I'm with you. At a certain point, if you have better offensive and defensive linemen than the teams on your schedule, you're going to win a ton of games. Right. And they have better offensive and defensive linemen than everybody on their schedule except Florida State.
Yep. And
it's probably equal when they play Florida State. That's it. Like that is it right there. Now that first game against Florida is an anxiety bowl kind of game. Both fan bases are nervous. Both fan bases not particularly happy with the first 2 years from their coaches. Like there will be a massive overreaction to whoever loses that game. Miami should win that game, but I'm not prepared to pick Miami yet in that game, Roddy, for all the reasons we just said.
Yeah. It's probably like if I were Miami this year, I would love like just easing into the schedule and then get Florida like week 2 or week 3, jumping into that pressure cooker as what will likely be a massive favorite on the road in the swamp. Like it just doesn't feel warm and fuzzy for me. It just doesn't. But with the way Florida, with the way their roster is, the distractions they've got off the field going on, with their head coach getting sued. The fact that the top end talent, like you should have advantages at just about every position. I feel not awful about Miami, but it doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies. It certainly doesn't.
No, but if they win that game, massive confidence boost.
Yeah,
gets you going to the rest of that schedule, which is very manageable until you play Florida State. Like that,
100%.
Just keep on rolling until the Seminoles come to play you, and then you kind of figure out what you are. But that's the challenge for Miami is deal with that stress of that first week, and it can set you up or it can set you back. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples on 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.